In this chapter we will create the second part of the outer panel. To start, we will return to the split node and connect the null node in the first input. Make a copy and connect it here. Now we will divide the geometry into two parts. But for starters, we will cover the front and back holes. Add polyfill node. Fill mode single polygon. And add assemble node, activate create pack geometry. Add sort node, and we will set the ascending order on the x-axis. Here select a long vector, here 0 and here 1. Add split node. And in the group parameter, we will add 0. In the second input we add the null node, and rename in start lower module 1. And add the match size node. For the y-axis, set minimum and activate the stash transform parameter. The method will be the same as in the previous chapter. We will only model the bottom geometry and then we will raise it up. In the first input, add the unpack node. Add the match size node. For the y-axis, set minimum and activate the stash transform parameter. Make a copy of the null node and connect it here. Add bound node. Add the delete node and activate the normal parameter. Spread angle 10. Here 1 and here 0. Operation, delete non-selected. We will use this geometry later to create some groups. Add the null node and rename it to for group. We return to the match size and we will add the delete node. And we will select geometry on the x-axis. Spread angle 10. Operation, delete non-selected. Copy the delete node and change the value to -1. Add a line and match size. In the first input, connect the line, and in the second input, connect the delete node. And we will activate the scale to fit parameter. Make a copy and connect it here. Add merge node. Add carve node, with which we will change the length of the lines. Next, we will create a polygon between these lines. Add poly loft and disable the connect closest ends parameter. Add poly extrude node. Distance 0.254. And we will activate the output back parameter. Next, return to the delete node and add the assemble node. And activate the create packed geometry parameter. Make a copy and connect it here. And we will connect them in the merge node. Next, with the add node, we will connect these lines. Polygon 0, 1. And activate the remove unused points parameter. And with the help of the carve node, we will change the length of the line. Disable the first U parameter and enable second U. And add merge node. Add match size node. For the X and Z axis we select none, for the Y axis we will select minimum. And add it to the merge node. Add bound node. And set the values to upper and lower padding 0.007. Add match size node. In the first input connect the poly extrude, and in the second input connect the bound node. Activate scale to fit, and deactivate X, Y axis. We will leave the Z axis active. Add transform node and Boolean. In the first input connect the bound, and in the second input connect the transform node. Return to the transform node, and we will change the size of the box. Add Boolean node. In the second input connect the Boolean, and in the first input connect the match size node. From here we will control the length. And from here we will control the height. Next, we will group a side polygon. Next we will create a group on the geometry on the -y axis. Add group node and activate keep by normals. Group name, bottom. Pull in the backface parameter the null node. And we see that all the polygons have been selected except the ones below. To reverse the selection we will activate the base group parameter. Add group select node. Activate the group primitive parameter and select the x-axis. And we will promote this group to the edges. Add group promote node. Here we will select the primitive group. Activate the Include Only Elements on the boundary parameter. And here select Edges. Make a copy of the group Promote node. And select the bottom group. Now we will select only the edges that intersect these two groups. Add Group Combine node. In the first parameter, select Primitive Group. In the second parameter, select Bottom. Operation, Intersect. And here select Primitive Group. And as a result we have selected this edge. Add Polybevel node. Group Type, Edges. Here select Primitive Group. Distance 0.2. Divisions 5. Add Boolean node. In the first input, connect Polybevel node. Next we will prepare the geometry for the second input. Return to the Bound node. And we will add the Delete node. Activate the Normal parameter. Spread angle 10. Here 0. And here -1. Operation Delete non-selected. And move the pivot to the center of the geometry. Now that the pivot is in the center of the geometry, we will increase uniform scale. Translate 0.1. And connect the Transform node to the second input. Operation Shatter. Next we will group the geometry from the top. Add Group node. Activate Keep by Normals. Spread angle 86. And we will select Y-axis. And delete everything that is not in this group. Add Assemble node, activate Create Pack Geometry. Add Sort node and select Point Sort along vector. We will set ascending on the x-axis. Delete point 0. And unpack geometry. Add poly extrude node. Distance 0.082. And activate the front group parameter. Next, we will promote the extrude front group to the edges. Add group promote node. Select edges and group extrude front. And activate include only elements on the boundary. Next, we will group the edges whose length does not exceed the length of 0.5. And add group combine node. In the first parameter, select extrude front. In the second parameter, select group 47. Operation, intersect. And here we also select extrude front. And next we will round these edges with the help of the poly bevel node. Select group extrude front. Distance 0.069. And divisions 4. Next we will return to poly bevel node. And add the group node. We will create a group on the edges. Max edge length 0.6. And we will disable the base group parameter. Add poly bevel node and select group 48. Exclude the edges between which the angle is greater than 97 degrees. And set the distance to 0.106. Divisions 4. Add the merge node, and combine these results. Return to the poly bevel node, and here we will add the delete node. Activate normal parameter. Spread angle 40. Here delete non-selected. And here -1. Add lot subdivision node. Minimum lot size 0.17. Iteration 6. Add measure node and activate remap range parameter. We will group polygons that have an area less than 0.7. Add delete node. Select group and delete non-selected. And I will reduce the value here to delete more polygons. Add poly bevel. Inset 0.005. Enable front group and disable output side parameter. Add once again the poly extrude node. Distance 0.107. Inset 0.003. Next, we will add in the distance scale parameter, the area attribute. Add clean node. And we will delete all groups and attributes. We will add the delete small parts node after the poly extrude node. Threshold 0.03. Add the merge node and combine these results. Copy the clean node and connect it here. Next, we will copy this geometry to the top of the escalator. Add object merge node. And add this node in the object parameter. This is the bottom part. Add attribute transfer. We will transfer the XForm attribute. Add match size and enable restore transform parameter. Return to the polybevel node, and here at the mirror node. Disable keep original parameter. Here at 0, and here 1. Add the transform node, and rotate the geometry on the y-axis. Add match size node. On the y-axis we will set the minimum. Select these nodes and copy them. Now we'll connect them here. We will now copy these nodes. And here we will connect them. Next we will add the merge node. And then we will add the object merge node, with which we will lift this element at the top of the escalator. And we will use this node to lift the geometry up. Select Object Merge node, and pull the null node to the object parameter. Add Attribute Transfer node. In the first input connect the Merge node. In the second input connect the Merge Object node. And transfer the XForm attribute. Add Match Size node. And activate the Restore Transform parameter. Add Merge node. And in the end, add Null node and rename it in Null panel.